Today's show is brought to you by Difficult Technicalties.
The car makes some insane number. I want to say it was like 407.
More than you thought.
More than I thought. And, we go out there and just dominate.
It's sad because people aren't actually as curious and scientific as they should be in chasing the performance. They're always waiting for somebody else to do it to validate it. There's nobody out there that creates the recipe. They're all just fucking looking up the recipe. I mean, you copy the recipe.
What's that first law of thermodynamics? Entropy. You know, if there's no evolutionary force behind it, it's just gonna fall apart.
So,
You know what I'm saying? It's not a money thing. It's like let's be honest. We want to fucking smash the whole class. You know, I want to make it an index class. It's sort of like either raise your game, learn something, gain some knowledge, do some shit on your own, instead of just fucking going on to YouTube looking for recipes or going on to forums looking for recipes. Everybody, that's my biggest complaint about the whole series thus far is people are still fucking asking me for recipes. You guys work with me. You guys know fucking how it's like I can't deal with that shit. It's sort of like God gave you a brain. Use your brain. Question everything.
Like Legos.
Huh?
I said, no, Dave, it's got to be like Legos.
Well, index racing should be like Legos, right? Because in an index class, everybody buys what's commercially available. And then they say, oh, let's make it about the driver. So let's make it an index class, right? How well can you drive your car? But we're heads up racing. Heads up racing means every man for himself.
All for one, one for all. Every man for himself.
There is no pro stock motorcycle program or pro stock car program where they are not doing their own pistons, their own manifolds, their own camshafts. They don't share any of that info. Their own ports. They don't share any of that info. So it's like, do we push a heads up class the way it should be? Meaning it's a pro type of thing where everybody, you go figure your own shit out and then bring it to the battlefield and let's test it? Or should it be an index class where you just buy fucking cookie cutter recipes and then, you think it's about the driver? All motor's not about the fucking driver. All motor's about the fucking monster. Right? Like my goal is to build a monster where I could put any driver in there and that same monster will fucking crush every other monster. I think we're aligned in that. Like Jamie can drive the car. Maybe I'll take some old school racers, throw them in the car,
Jamie, what are your thoughts, man? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Old school drivers don't stand a chance against me and the new school drivers.
How?
But that's a different conversation.
I could care less about that conversation because if I cared about being a driver, I'd be a driver, right? I'm not a driver. It's like, you guys are all fucking jockeys to me.
But yeah, to follow up with Dave, I think, again, the search for the recipe continues. And, Brandon, you and I had a discussion yesterday with the project that we want to work on. And, there is a huge part of the market that needs like that recipe. Like you need to use this, and this, put it in a car, it's going to make that. And they're happy with that. But I think this series should challenge the guys that are sort of on the fence, the guys that know a bit more than that index racer, or that have the support from some of these big companies that can do it on their own. I think, if anything, it should challenge them to step their game up. Because how many more races are going to show up to and finish 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 10th place? Who can sustain losing that bad, time after time?
If you just run through somebody's face, a lot of people ain't gonna be able to take that over and 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 over.
Eventually, it's one or two things have to happen. You have to step your game up, or they're gonna bow out.
I think Jamie was already kind of like looking at different areas for, like, all we're doing is solving problems, all the various problems that pop up, right? I think if anything, I've just broadened the view of where Jamie can draw from to solve these problems and not realize it's like localized to our industry. Like, our industry is horrible for finding the solutions to these problems that we're dealing with in all motor. So it's like back in the video series, I said it's like inbreeding.
And the big problem now with the Honda racing is everybody looks at everybody else in the Honda race and Honda industry, and I hate to say it, but inbreeding breeds retardation. That's what it is. And if you're looking at like, hey, my cousin's car pretty fucking hot, I'm gonna copy my cousin's car and fuck, you know what I'm saying? It's like, hey, you just duplicated retardation.
Right? It's like inbreeding breeds retardation. So if you keep looking for inspiration in the import industry, you're not going to find it because it's very uninspiring in many ways, right? There's no push for like curiosity, right? Like, there's no encouraging people to like find out the answers. There's only encouraging people to buy my fucking recipe, and that's the problem I have with it.
Man,
I gotta take a leak, so you guys can chat away. I'll be back.
Old man, fucking old blood.
Yeah, that's right.
Try this one on for size. Oh, God.
Ew, Grandpa, you sharted.
Jamie, you continue to kind of put the gap on the rest of the field. And last weekend, you guys went 1 and 2. I think maybe the last event you guys might have gone into the finals. You have more. Did you have more than one car in the finals at the previous events you guys competed at?
Yeah, 1 and 2 as well. The last race, Joey won. So again, he's using a head from those guys down in Florida with his own bottom end package with the BMF, sort of a hybrid engine. So, I mean, I give all the credit to his engine builder and him. The head is the head, right? The head works for him and it works well, but he's really pushed his engine program to where it is. And I give all the credit to him and his engine builder. It's easy for me. I tune the car and I barely have to plug in. I mean, all of it really is just him. And like you said, he's part of the team. He's just like Sonic. He's just like the others. So if I really look back, last race 1 and 2, previous race 1 and 2. The race before that was the first H day. Who the hell won that? I think we won that too. I'm pretty sure that was a 1-2 finish as well. That event for me was more to encourage the younger generation of auto racer to do better and to not be scared to step up to compete against the big dogs.
We want the next guy, the next Jamie Marsh, to look outside the box.
Like I said, the continued silence just continues to validate the beliefs and some of the things that were mentioned in the series. And it's been good, right? So I think the last event I had 7 cars out of the entire field. And I think 3 out of the 7 were newer drivers, either as their first race.
First time.
Or their second race in all motor. And 2 of those guys broke into the 9s. One of them went 9.7 at like 141, which is huge. And someone came out to me, I think it was Steve-O from CLM came up to me. He's like, your guy won in the right lane, but he's like, you're in the losing lane cheering. And I'm like, yeah, the kid just put up a PB. And he's like, yeah, it's just odd. You don't see that. I'm like, yeah, I know my guys are going to push. They're consistent. They're going to go fast. But to see some of the newer guys step up, crush their goals, and hit those PBs, to me, that's everything. That is...
right. Oh,
that's the next generation of racers that's going to pop up, and maybe one of those guys will be in the position that I'm in now to have new ideas and new interests to push all motor to new levels when I'm as old as Dave.
Oh,
I'm old. Man, if you're 53 and look as good as this shit, you'll be like stoked. But black don't crack, so you'll be fine.
I'll be good.
we're in this together.
But
So-
yeah, it was good to see, and it was encouraging for me, man. It was. I think every other pass, I was in the losing lane cheering because they either crushed some PB, they either launched the car well, drove the car differently. It was that event for me. It was more to encourage the younger generation of all-motor racer to do better and to not be scared to step up to compete against the big dogs. They raced against some fast guys, some seasoned guys, and you look at that last slip. Both guys cut O-lights. They both went 40s. It was a side-by-side race. And for me, that's the goal for all motor, at least for as it relates to my programs, to have all of those guys at that level. So it can be anyone's race. They're all going to have, Dave said he's going to have a committed list of guys that are going to take that top-end package. A prerequisite for my engine or my race program, all those guys have to buy that package. All of those guys are going to be committed to grab that package as a whole. And, the goal is to stack the class with those types of caliber cars, and in hopes of one day one of those guys steps up and continues to push as Dave and I move on to other things.
Yeah, I mean, those parts that I would put out there, look, after they're out there, people are going to start massaging it and like putting their logos on variations of it. I know that's going to happen, but we want the next guy, the next Jamie Marsh, to look outside of the box. Trust me, after this go around, this is my swan song in the Honda marketplace, at least in terms of, well, that's not true because this swan song's kind of long. It's kind of, this swan song of mine has a pretty long list of stuff that I still want to do,
Cool stuff that, yeah, we definitely can't talk about that, but yeah, Dave's not going anywhere anytime soon.
Not leaving. They're gonna need to send in the National Guard or SWAT team, because I ain't going nowhere.
Oh, Jesus. I would rather... Look, I could do the that I do out of an apartment in Jamaica, so see you in the Caribbean.
Can you guys give us a little intel on the Skunk2? There's a whole commercial ad in the series. You guys talked about Skunk2, which was something that a lot of us are familiar with being having a negative connotation to it. But I guess the tables have turned.
Well, well, well. How the turntables...
Well, the merch is going to be killer. That's what I'll tell you. It's like, look, the merch is going to be killer, and the green fuzzy monster will be alive sooner than you think. Like, what is that? I don't know what that is. Just remember, green fuzzy monster. Let's see what happens.
Man, I'm getting hyped. We'll have to stay tuned for that. I guess one of my last questions here before we start to wind down, related to the smoke show. What do you guys think people missed? I know a lot of people needed it spoon-fed to them, and they kind of missed. They didn't read between the lines. They missed some key points. What would you guys say people totally missed from this series?
They miss.
So there's a lot of hints, a lot of Easter eggs peppered into the series, a lot of bleeps.
Oh, the bleeps. I mean, eventually they figured it out. Just based on what I found in my inbox, they may not have mentioned it in the comments, but I mean, they know why Coke is better than now.
They know what it means now.
They know what it means now. Outside of that, I mean, it is what it is. It's the internet's not dumb. It may take them a while to figure it out, but they figure it out. And like I said, the continued silence just continues to validate the beliefs and the, you know, some of the things that were mentioned in the series.
Look, I like Pepsi. I drink Diet Pepsi every day. But what I'm referencing is not so much a person per se, but just the certain zeitgeist that exists in our industry. You know what I'm saying? Like whatever you want to call the soda, I don't care. There's always going to be some soda pop like that.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, no, I don't even know the guy. Right? But I see what people believe out there. Like, I mean, I visually looked at his thing from like so far away that I'm like, oh, you like James was just like, hey, do you want to try these heads? And I looked at the picture of like, no to that one. So if it's like, if the flaws are so obvious, I can spot it from 50 feet. Those are pretty fucking obvious flaws. And so anybody to still be fucking high on that soda pop, I don't know what to tell you. Coke, it's a real thing. Are you convinced or do you need more receipts? Because like fucking I can bust Opie Taylor wide open. Look, seriously, like if anything that I said was wrong, come out and defend yourself.